So in this video, I'm going to be making a stained glass window for a transom at Curiosity Inc. If you haven't checked out Alex's channel yet, I'll put a link to it in the description. But I'm going to start out by designing a pattern. I sort of sketched out what I want, and I'm just going to work on laying it onto the full-size paper here. So I will show you a little bit of what I'm doing. Alright, so I started out with just a sketch on a piece of paper towel, and this is just sort of what was in my mind, you know, what would look cool. Just kind of a pattern I designed myself. So now I'm just working on getting the math and getting it laid out so it makes sense. It's funny, this window is pretty much the same size as the window I did last year. But I don't want to just recycle that pattern. I want to come up with something new. So this is just sort of a different design. Nothing that I really copied from anywhere, just sort of what's coming into my brain. Trying to make sure it'll all work out. I had to put those diamonds a little closer just so the proportions were right. But I'll keep working on this and see what happens. So I think this is the final design in terms of the geometry. So I got some of these jewels here, these faceted jewels, sort of a yellow. When it shines through the light, it's more yellow, a light amber they call it. And then I've got that pinkish sort of glass from the last windows I did. So I think I'll do 3 roses in here, and then once those are in, I'll do these triangles in a light blue and brown to sort of resemble his other building. So, and then the diamonds will be red to sort of fit in that new door, the red door he's got on his new building. So it'll be a real custom piece to sort of tie into everything else that he's got going on there. So now I will just have to get the roses traced on here. I'll probably grab a compass and just do a circle just so I get the sizing all right. But I'll take the design that I made on my phone and just project it onto here, I think. Unless I can trace it under the screen, but I'm not sure. All right, so I'll do that stuff next. So here's the kind of rose that I'm trying to copy. Now the design that I made, I just did it on my iPad. I just took a cutout of a guitar pick, which is, you know, sort of the same shape as that pedal. And then I just found a pentagon and I had to lay a bunch of lines on it. And then I just overlapped them over each other. So, you know, how they all kind of infinitely wind inwards. Like typically there's got to be one on top because you can't line it inwards, but I thought it looked better with just that infinite winding look. So I just put the screen under the paper, line it up, and trace the lines, and it comes out looking something like that. So I think that'll look kind of neat. So I'll finish tracing these and then draw everything with Sharpie, all the lines that are going to be permanent. There's a few lines on here that was just me playing around, so I do it in Sharpie just so I don't confuse myself when cutting the glass. So just working away on the final drawing here. Another thing about using the Sharpie is it's about the same width as the lead came. So when you cut your glass, the way I usually do it is just lay it right on top of the pattern and then just cut to the inside of that line. And 99% of the time, that works perfectly. It's only a little bit where you have to use the grosing pliers and clip some stuff away, but yeah. I'll just finish this off and then I will have a pattern ready to go. Then I'll just have to make sure what colors I want and sort of get that visual in my head, and then yeah, I'll be able to start cutting glass. So now I've made a bit of a design change here. I was just sort of looking into floral stained glass from this time period, and most of it had the lines in the flowers going straight, but also most of those were 4-petaled flowers. These are 5. So it's going to be sort of goofy. Like, what I don't like about the straight lines is, like, typically in the stained glass sort of style that I like, sort of that early 1900s to 1920s style, you have lines at 90-degree angles and 45-degree angles for your straight lines. And then there's some curves and stuff like that. But what I really don't like is, see how you have this 45-degree angle, and then you go over just a little bit and the angle changes. So it just looks kind of goofy. But then again, like these flowers here, I saw a fan blade in my head and I just could not unsee that image, and I don't want it to look like a fan blade. So I sort of drew that out, and I mean, that looks all right. I guess it sort of looks more stained glass style and less realistic. But anyways, I got some pieces cut out here, just some simple pieces that I know where they're gonna go. And some strips of this glass. I'm just gonna get the border tacked, just waiting for the soldering iron to heat up. And then, yeah, I'll basically be able to start putting this thing together. I know this is gonna be a decision I make when I get to it, whether I go with the straight lines or the curved. I just spent so much time designing this curved thing, but whatever. I'm sure it'll look good either way. Now, I know a lot of people, they tack their piece on a board with like horseshoe nails and whatnot, and they assemble it all and then solder it, but I prefer to solder everything together as I go, just so it holds it. Then nothing can get knocked out of place and cause a huge headache. So I'm just gonna dab a bit of flux onto this joint. Try and get some more on there. Something like that. I should clean that tip off a little bit. I don't really have a proper sponge or anything. This is a pretty amateur attempt. Like I say, I mean, I don't really have a lot invested in stained glass, just because I don't have a proper studio or anything to do this in. If you watched my video last year, you'll notice I'm sitting in the exact same place and like nothing has moved. That's because that was the last time I worked down here. So yeah, I'll let that cool off a bit. Should be good now. And then I'll just pop the square out of here. Now that I have a square frame to start with, I'll just start cutting these pieces and then cutting the cane and tacking everything as I go. And then yeah, I'll just sort of keep working on that. yesterday to grab some supplies, and I got this sheet of glass. It's actually like a lighter blue. It looks pretty dark here, but this is what it looks like against the white background. I've sort of just been working away at this a little bit here and there, getting done what I can. I still need to get 3 more faceted jewels like that, which they didn't have in Regina, so I'm gonna have to wait until we can go back to Edmonton, and I'll grab 2 more of those. But I'll just sort of work a little bit more, probably get the bottom half of this one done, and I probably could go all the way across on the bottoms. But yeah, I'll get as much done as I can, but it's looking pretty cool so far. Definitely has the Curiosity ink building colors in there. That rose, I don't know what to think of it. It is what it is, I guess. I'm not sure if it would have looked better like that or like that. Probably like this, but I don't know. We'll see what it looks like when it's all... So I'm finally back at it here. I was able to get 2 more jewels shipped to me from Edmonton, so that's perfect. And now I'm just working on getting these petals cut out and getting everything sort of pieced together. So yeah, I'll carry on here. Okay, so finally nearing the end of the project here. Pardon all the bad soldering, I'm still not the greatest. But I'm just taking scrap pieces like this and just trimming back the lead so I know, you know, how far the border needs to go and everything like that. And then, you know, through taking measurements from here to here with that demo piece there, that template, then I cut the actual border. Now I think I'm gonna need 2 hands because the pattern is stuck behind it. So now with the top border on and everything done, I flipped it over and I'm gonna solder the back side. I just did a little test with the cement that I have left over from last year. Where's my bar? Oh, here it is. And it's hardened up a bit, but it's still, you know, fairly squishy. It was, you know, too runny last year, I think, because I had a really hard time cleaning it out of this glass, especially. So I think if I just add a little bit of turpentine or whatever in there, it should be about the right consistency. I'll try to mix it up a bit, but that's just some stuff I mixed up, and you know, it's fairly runny yet actually on the inside. So I'm just waiting for the soldering iron to heat up and we'll get the rest of this soldered, but I like the look of it. So now that I got this all sort of to the right consistency, I basically just took it and, you know, stirred it up a bit, and it's sort of the consistency of window putty, like the stuff that I use to just glaze normal windows, maybe a little bit thinner. So I just sort of take it and, you know, rub it into the joints there, just using my finger. This is going to be a lot less messy, I think, than last year. I had it way too runny, but yeah, I'll just sort of work it in. I just kind of do a section at a time, and then I take this brush and just sort of brush it off. I'm going to be a lot more diligent with brushing it off clean before I let it dry, because last year, especially on the textured side on this clear glass, you know, I left, you know, little pieces like that. I just sprinkled chalk on it to dry it, and it was a hell of a time getting it off out of those grooves in the glass there. So I'm gonna make sure everything's clean before I let this dry. Now I brought it up and propped it in the window here just so I can get some light, so I can see all these little imperfections and just get them off with the toothpick before they dry. I just sort of loosen them up and then wipe them off with the paper towel. So, because last year when I did this, I had a hell of a time getting this textured side clean, just because this is such a rough texture. So all that cement just sort of likes to sit in there, and it didn't really come off very good afterwards. So yeah, the toothpick, it gets in there nicely and cleans it out. And this is not a crack, by the way. That's just a imperfection in the glass. I didn't notice that at the time, but it sort of looks like a crack, but it's only on one side. I don't know if you can see. It's definitely not a crack, just a slight imperfection. I'm not sure. Maybe a scratch? I can't really see, just the surface. All right, so now we're off to Edmonton to go deliver the window. So let's hope I don't break it on the way there. This should be interesting. See how I can package it so it won't break. All right, so now I'm here at Curiosity Inc. Alex got it put up. I did sign my name at the bottom there for all of you who say I should sign my work. So what do you think, Alex?
It's beautiful.
Looks good.
It makes me a little bit sad that I'll still be able to see it and view it, but it's going to be in the rental side, which will be an ice cream parlor. But now think there's going to be how many more families and people are going to enjoy your stained glass now that it's up there. It's truly a wonderful work of art, Austin. It's fantastic.
Well, thanks. I'm glad you enjoy it.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Well, thank you everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. Remember to subscribe if you're new, turn the notification bell on so you know when I post, and check out my Instagram and Facebook. All the links to that will be in the description. So yeah, we'll see you next time.